It really does.
It what?
It brings the cheerdom high. That we have such a bad rap that it cuts us short from a lot of things. And as being as bad as I am, I still cry, man. I still have a heart. I still care.
Well,
My name's Ken. Local homeless. Helping these brothers out, man.
Yeah. So we met Ken, and he's very easy to talk to, very personable, very kind, and I think that's what matters. So, I don't know, we're just gonna get into it, I guess. What's it like what's it like getting food out here? Like, what's your experience like getting food, I guess?
For me, it's sometimes you live meal to meal, and you never pass up a blessing, as I call it. Somebody offering you something, and that fills the void. But sometimes it's day to day. It's day to day, and meal to meal. There was times I went without nothing, just because I don't steal, boost, whatever you want to call it. I don't do none of that. It's just me. So if I don't have it, then I don't eat.
Okay. Talk about boosting. What's boosting?
Boosting, aka thievery, is walking into a store and lifting whatever it is you're there to lift. Stealing,
Yeah.
Some people do it, just to get by. Others do it to, make $1. But that's basically what it is.
Why do you choose to not steal? Why do you choose not to steal?
It's just the way I was raised. I don't do it, and that's about the only thing I'm scared of. I'll walk into a store with somebody, and if I catch them, stealing, it's like, I'm looking around. Oh my God, we're gonna get caught.
Yeah.
It's just not in me.
So how were you raised? Where are you from?
I'm from Texas.
Where at in Texas?
Weatherford, basically Dallas, and I was raised in a 2-parent home, with manners and respect, and so I just, I never let that stray from me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I use it as a weapon sometimes to impress on my brothers and sisters that you don't have to steal, you don't have to be cutthroat, rude, however you want to call it, because us homeless people have a bad rap, but we have a bad rap because of some of the things that people do, to the citizens, we're not all bad, but when you sit somewhere and eat and you leave all your trash on someone's front porch, they don't want to wake up in the morning to go to work and find their shit broke and trash everywhere, needles everywhere, foil, pipes, whatever. They don't want to see that. Mm-hmm. And that's what they see, because a lot of us just don't care. That's what it comes down to. Is a lot of people, when they become homeless, they just don't care.
Right.
I call it downtrodden. They've been downtrodden. They've been, they get, ran out of everywhere they go. They get preyed upon by people that are stronger than them. And I don't mean by brute strength. I mean by will, by brain power, and because there's some homeless people that are just that have mental issues, and they don't understand. They don't it's one of those things that it's hard to explain. You know
Tell me what you were telling me about how, like, just about common sense out here, and like, what do you think about common sense?
Common sense is, right from wrong. We know what to do. When we were kids, we were taught, the right and the wrong. So we should have that. And when they become homeless, I mean, what responsibilities do they have? What do we have for responsibilities? Which is basically, none, other than taking care of ourselves, from day to day and all this. But as human adults, we have a responsibility to treat people with manners, treat people with respect, and common decency. And that's another thing that a lot of us lose is common decency. It's a sad thing. It's really sad out here if you come out here and you just watch and you see what goes on around you, which is just evil. It's evil. But at the same time, you put 50 people in a room, and 25 of them are more powerful in mental capacity and strength and so on and so forth. They're gonna take over. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think? Is there anything that can be done? Do you think? Or
learn what the problem is. If you can help somebody, help them out so they don't have to, do whatever it is they're doing. But it goes both ways.
So what about? I have a question. What about when people? Because there's stories where people go meet a homeless person, and then they will give them money, and they'll give them a place to live and a place to stay, and they'll give them food, but then they divert back to their old ways.
A lot of it is goes into drug use. Why are they doing it? Probably because they have all that, but now they need to get high. Mm-hmm. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna steal. Laziness. It's the easiest thing.
Right.
Being a klepto. Is they can't help but that's what they're they have to. You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to. So that's why they do it.
Sorry, hold on.
Yeah. We can pause it.
Yeah, let's wait a second.
What's up, brother?
How you doing? Nah, I don't have any cash, man. I spent all my cash.
I hear ya.
All right, brother.
Sorry, brother. Have a good one.
Be safe, brother.
So, let's see.
It comes into things like that.
Yeah.
Luckily, he was a nice guy.
Sometimes they aren't. Though.
They don't. People don't want to deal with that while they're eating their meal. And it's up to us, being responsible, to know where to do that stuff. That's not the place to do it. This isn't the place to do that. He's doing it because he's lazy and he knows he can make a quick buck, because they're gonna want him to leave, so they're gonna give him what he wants so he can leave. But
so in that situation that we were just in, what's the right thing to do?
if we exactly, hey, we don't have nothing. Me personally, I would have kept him. I would have kept him. I wouldn't have bothered us because we're in the middle of doing something. So therefore, I'm gonna find the next person. But I wouldn't be here doing it. It's just me though.
Yeah, you so. Sorry, that's just very complex. But you don't even put yourself in the situations to where you can disrespect people and like.
I try not to because me, I'm a nice guy and very generous and all that, but at the same time, right is right, wrong is wrong. And if you're wrong, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. And if we have to get down in the dirt and fight and all that, then that's what we're going to do. But
So have you gotten in fights before with homeless people, with other homeless people?
damn near every other day.
Really?
Yeah, but that's because somebody's being ignorant, and in my eyes, they're being ignorant and they don't want to listen and understand. So I'm gonna make sure you understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if I gotta, protect one of my friends, especially females. I'm very protective over females. Why? Because that's how my mom raised me. And there's a lot of ugly people out here, just grimy people. I know personally, not that they're my friends, they're more acquaintances than anything, of a lot of SOs.
What's that?
AKA sex offenders.
Oh yeah.
A lot of homeless people are sex offenders. A lot of the guys are sex offenders because they're on the run and they end up in the street. And every day I hear, oh, such and such is an SO. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? All this time I've been friends with this dude and he's an SO. I've been to prison 5 times myself. I've done 20 years in the joint. That's the other reason I'm the way I am.
So can we talk a little bit about that? So what was your childhood like, and what did your I don't know.
My childhood was I never went without anything.
Okay.
I didn't have everything I wanted, but I had everything I needed.
Food,
Food, clothing, shelter, 2 parents, and so, I had a normal childhood, versus, a lot of my friends, they came from, a single parent home, dad's gone, mom's on drugs, the typical story you hear. And it's people don't see that and think about why is somebody homeless? Why are they homeless? Granted, that's up to the city to worry about in normal people's eyes. My life is no more complex than yours.
But then people walk around, they see homeless people, and they just kind of see them as like fake, or they don't even exist. They don't give them any attention. Their number one goal is just to avoid them. They don't actually realize that they're real human beings who have emotions and they're.
Yeah, but at the same time, they've had a lot of bad experience with homeless people. Aggressive panhandling. Okay, I see you and I say, hey man, you got a buck? You say no. And I said, oh, come on, man. I just seen you coming out of the store with a bunch of stuff. I know you got it all. Come on, man. Let me get it all. Come on, bro. Let me get it all. That's the type of stuff they deal with, and they don't want to deal with that. Which I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Or somebody broke into their garage and stole their blower or their weed eater or whatever, and they've had to replace it 3 different times because the same person keeps or someone did it and they say, hey, I know where this easy lick is, and they go do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So therefore you can't blame them for that. So
Yeah. So
it's like you said, it's complex.
it's so complex,
And
it's not a problem you can just sit and like.
the city of Seattle got over $1 billion for however many years to fight homelessness. And you can ask anybody I know that's homeless, where the hell's the money at? Damn near all the shelters in Seattle are closed down. When COVID hit, they shut them all down. and just left us in the street, you know? While everybody was getting vaccinated, this, that, and whatever, we didn't get none. We didn't get no vaccination till after everybody else got vaccinated. Then they came and vaccinated us. Mind you, they shut all the shelters down. So that just left us in the street.
Right.
We didn't have no place to go for weeks, months. For I think over a month, there wasn't one shelter open.
Right.
And just left us in the street. So how is that fair? How is that right? But you didn't hear anybody paying a tax dollar complain about that. You didn't hear one complaint about that. Not one. Like I said, where's all our tax dollars? They sure ain't spending it on meals or this or that. The only thing they're doing is you got all these startup companies that are getting grants from the government to open up their business, and they're buying old motels and buildings, and they turn it into a shelter.
Yeah.
Anybody can buy a building and turn it into a shelter these days. And that company is getting money hand over fist.
It just takes a good person to come in and do that.
And to be honest about it, I've stayed in these places, and when they start getting ran down, they don't care. They're not fixing it. They're not fixing nothing that get broke. All they're doing is putting their money on their pocket, going on their vacations, buying their cars and all this and that, and they're just letting the building get dilapidated, and then they close the building down. And they just move on to the next.
Yeah.
That's it. Out of $1 billion, it cost the federal government, $50,000. And that's it.
Yeah.
The rest of the money went in the government's pocket and the owner of the building's pocket. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
The city of Seattle just won a civil lawsuit, us homeless won a civil lawsuit against the city of Seattle.
Really?
for illegal sweeps during the All-Star game. They illegally swept us.
Oh.
During the All-Star game. The NAACP won that lawsuit, and it got deemed illegal it violated our civil rights. I can't remember the right they violated. Anyhow, they violated our civil right, and now it's going back to the civil court to find out if it's criminal. I had somebody. I got the information from a viable source. It was a priest. Matter of fact, it was handing out lunches to us that told me that. So, I mean, it's things like that the city's doing. So, you just imagine what they're doing with the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they're spending it. It's all theirs. So I want to talk about can you just, I don't know, I'm just going to ask you straight up. Why are you homeless?
Why am I homeless? I'm homeless because one day my dad said, you leave the house, you'll never be allowed in the house again. I was 15. I walked out the front door, and my parents wouldn't let me back in, so I became homeless.
So you've been homeless since you're 15?
Yeah, on and off since I was 15.
Why did you leave the house? Well,
I was a young kid and wanted to go out and kick it and party.
So because that's something that people ask. Like, if you have a roof and food and all that, but why do you still feel the need? Like, why did you feel the need to make that decision to go be homeless?
Like I said, because I wanted to go out and party and hang out with my friends and all that. And then when it happened, at the time, when you're a kid, homeless, it's cool. You don't have a curfew. You don't have to report to anybody. So, why the hell not? And then, as you grow into an adulthood, and you got to start figuring out, well, man, I need to get off these streets. I mean, because disease is rampant out here. You see the homeless people walking around with big abscess on their leg or their arm and all this and that.
I've seen one where somebody's leg looked like it was falling apart.
It pretty much is. If you know what an abscess is, the shit's no joke, man.
Yeah.
And it all starts from a scratch, something like that, and it becomes an abscess if you don't take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
But granted, we sit on the ground. Look, I mean, like this house, man. This is dirty as hell.
It's disgusting. There's cigarette butts.
It's disgusting. The cigarette butts.
Broken glass.
How many people are pissed in that corner? You know what I mean? Or spit on the ground. How many people, with AIDS walk by and spit on the ground, and I got an open cut on my leg, and I put my leg in that exact spot where that AIDS has been festering and living.
Yeah.
Now I got it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's not a whole lot of places we can go for medical help. They have these mobile medical vans, as you call them, but there's 1, 2, 3 maybe for
What if the
10,000
what if the streets were just filled with those, and then the homeless could line up and or there could be a place where they can meet and people could go and help them.
That's what we're screaming for. Is when they first started addressing the homeless issue, they were giving us the camps, the homeless camps.
Now those aren't a thing. So
yeah, those aren't a thing now. They don't exist.
Right.
They did away with that because of the rampant drug use and violence in them. But okay, so what are you going to do? Throw us back in the street? I mean,
right? Yeah, it's pointless.
I'm sure why, because it's cheaper for them. They can just throw us in jail easier that way. I don't know why, but I mean, for some odd reason, they did away with it.
Yeah. So I got next question. Are you what drugs are you currently using right now?
Me personally, meth, weed, blues. Just typical, same as everybody else.
When did you start using that?
Oh God, man, I can't remember the last time I was sober. I really can't. I'm on drugs every day. Because the blues, I have to have them. My body is so in tune to them. I can't do without them.
The booze?
Blues.
What's that?
Blues. Blue. Fentanyl.
Oh, okay. Is that what that cigarette was?
No, that was just a cigarette.
Okay. So your body you have to. What happens if you go without fentanyl for a while?
I get, funny, man. I get the shits, I get the shakes. I'm puking. I feel like shit. And then I can't go out and support myself because I'm sick. So I gotta have it. Now, how do I support my habit? By buying my drugs with cash or trading is a big thing. We trade for things. We buy on the barter system. That's what most of the homeless use the bartering system. I got this, and I'll trade you some blues for that. Now the drug dealers, they understand that and they work on the bartering system too, but a lot of them want stuff they can turn around and either sell to somebody else that'll give them cash for it, or they can take it someplace where they can get cash, or they can buy their quantity of drugs for it.
So when did fentanyl start showing up in the streets?
In Seattle?
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Has it been a long time?
Yeah, I mean, over 10 years?
That's how long you've been addicted to fentanyl? How long have you been addicted?
5 years.
What was your life like before you got addicted to fentanyl?
Pain. I was in pain from my feet.
What happened to your feet?
I lost my toes.
While you're homeless?
Yeah. I lost my toes 4 years ago.
Jeez. So then the fentanyl is what you used to kind of cope with that?
Yeah, because I was in so much pain. I mean, I was in enough pain. I was crying. My feet hurt that bad that I was crying. Why? Because I had MRSA, and basically my toes rotted away because I was younger. I didn't take care of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How you doing, brother?
Is he homeless?
Yeah.
Okay. He looks a little bit more cleaner.
Together?
Cleaner cut. Yeah.
Only because he's probably, now they're starting to house us. When you can go, when they pull sweep, you can say, hey, look, I want to get off the streets. And they have these places, these nonprofits now are buying buildings and they're housing the homeless.
Okay.
They probably, I think they get like, over $1,000 a head. So you take $1,000 times what, 50 rooms.
You're making so much money.
So much money.
Yeah.
And they're starting to give us apartments now. They're taking, the city's finally, renovating these buildings enough to make apartments out of them. And so they're popping up all over the place. You go to Belltown, they're all over Belltown. But luckily, a lot of them nowadays are brand new buildings. I could take you around and show you some of the buildings that they're putting us in,
right,
which are nice. I got some friends that live in some nice ass buildings, bro. Nice buildings.
Yeah.
You'd look at them and be like, what? Are you serious?
Do you want to go try and get in one of those buildings? How do you get?
I'm in the process of that now.
Okay.
I've been inside 3 times.
Okay.
But I've been kicked out 3 times.
Yeah.
But at that, I was in shelters. It's different. The shelters and your own apartment are 2 different things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you got your own apartment, it's easier because you can go in, shut the door, and you have your life around you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your apartment is tailored to you and what your likes are. So, why not do it?
Yeah.
Why not come out here and hang out, kick it, get all fucked up, and then you can go home. You can go to fuck home, and you don't have to be out here and sit in the alley and whatnot. What's up, brother?
So is there a point where you could but once they start giving people apartments, are people gonna work? Because isn't that like a key thing? Is if they're going into the apartments, they have to get a job.
No.
But what?
Nothing.
So what's the?
There isn't.
What's the?
Most people are on Section 8.
Okay.
And Section 8 pays for everything. Pays all your bills except for, I think you got to pay 30% of whatever the rent is. That's a little different. Those are apartments where you don't have like the other places are like DCES. Their buildings they have on-site nursing and security guards, locked doors,
Okay.
Curfews,
Yeah.
and all that.
Is the mic still on? Still green? Okay.
So those are more for mental health.
Yeah. Right.
Which over 50% of the people out here are mental health.
Yeah.
The other 50% are just like me, or just we're out here.
So I have a question. I'm just gonna bounce back and forth. What'd you go to prison for? Can you tell us what you went to prison for?
I went to prison twice for assault 2, violation of no contact 1 time, and the last 2 were for Assault threes, yeah. So
Assault 3?
yeah,
Can you, were you in the streets?
yeah, of course.
Okay. So you were homeless and then you got in a fight and then
Well, I used to do some things for some people, and it got me thrown in prison. We'll just put it that way. I could tell you more off camera. I just don't want it on camera.
yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, most people in prison were homeless when they went to prison. Sad to say, I mean, that's what it was.
So I got a question now. So you told me earlier that people, what do they call you?
Wait.
Hold on a second.
Preacher man.
Yeah, the preacher man. Well, at what point did you become the preacher man?
I became the preacher man a long time ago. Just because I preach to people of what's right and what's wrong and what it should and what it shouldn't be. Granted, you know, it's my own opinion, but I maybe not. You know, like I said, it's an opinion. It doesn't mean it's right. It just means, you know, it's an opinion. And if people are wrong, I'm gonna tell them they're wrong in a heartbeat. If you're doing something, you know, you're being shady to somebody, like, bro, man, that's not right, man. Why are you treating that man like that? That man didn't do nothing to you. Why are you doing that to him? You know, you shouldn't be like that. Do you need something here, man? You know, I'll give a man my last dollar in the street. You know, why? Because I know I can get it back later. And what I mean by that is, you know, I bump into things like, you know, you gave me a meal, man. That's a blessing. You know, I count that as a blessing. You know, I always count my blessings because now I'm full and I don't have to worry about getting something to eat. You know, and that's a blessing. You know, whereas, you know, I might have went to bed hungry tonight. You know, I went to bed hungry last night because I didn't have nothing to eat. You know, no nothing. But I'm not gonna go out and commit a crime to do it. I'm not, because my record, I commit a felony. I'm in prison for 10 years. If I hit somebody and get an assault charge, I'm done. I'll be homeless in prison, and it's not worth it. For me, it's not worth it. I've done too much time. I'd rather be in this alley, sitting here with nothing, staring at the ground, than be in prison behind four walls with some jagoff telling me when I got to be in my cell and when I got to eat, when I got to shower, when I can be out here and still have a decision of all that. You know what I mean? It's more worth it to be out here than to be inside. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care. Short of somebody hurting my family, one of my close friends. You know, I got friends out there that you know, if my friend said, hey, that guy right there just fucking punch me in the face, I got friends out there saying, okay, and I would jump up and grab that man and whoop his ass in front of all them people and not give two shits about it. Because that's my family. I protect my family at all costs because that's all I have. They're the people that I can count on for anything. Whether it's a place to stay, a cigarette, a joint, a pill to smoke, anything. I could ask for it and I got it. So why not protect that man? Because that man gave me what I needed and cared enough to do it. Mm-hmm. So why not care enough to protect that man?
Yeah.
It may not be the right thinking. It may be deranged thinking, ignorant, whatever you want to call it, but that's my thinking. And at the end of the day, I give two shits what you think, because I'll never see you again, and not you personally, but you don't register. You know what I mean? So why the hell should I care? You know?
Yeah.
Basically that's where it comes down from. You know what I mean?
Yes. So, I don't know. I think.
How you guys doing? You guys be safe, man. Have a good night.
I think. I don't know what should people know, like tourists or anybody on this, people who live in nice suburbs and mansions, or people who don't see this side of the world. What do you want them to know?
That we're not all bad. We're not. I could take you to, and take you and point out 100 good people that are just like me, because that's all I surround myself with. Are good, honest people that just, they do what they do. They do what they got to do to get by. But we're not all bad. There's those of us that are homeless that are decent people. And, it brings a tear to my eye. It really does.
It what?
It brings a tear to my eye that we have such a bad rap that it cuts us short from a lot of things. And as being as bad as I am, I still cry, man. I still have a heart. I still care. And, I care about everybody. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and trust me, it gets stomped out a lot. And it gets taken advantage of a lot. And I just learned to turn the other cheek. And at the end of the day, I know I'm going to be all right. But we're not all bad. We're not. There's some of us that are good, and I'm sorry for the bad rap we have and the bad experiences that the citizens take. I feel bad for that. I really do. But it's not my fault what the next man did. You know what I mean? So just know that there's good ones out there.
Absolutely.
There's superheroes out there that sleep in the gutter.
That's great. Thank you. Can you? I never, for the interview, how'd you introduce yourself? So can you just introduce yourself? And I already know what you're about, but I don't know. Just say your name and what.
My name's Ken Bell, aka Wayne. My name rings bells in the street. It really does. And
you have a good rap around here. People know who you are.
Oh yeah. You could ask anybody. I don't think there's anybody that can say anything bad about me. Honestly, not that I think I'm the shit, but my name's good in the street.
Yeah.
It's golden, and I mean that literally. It's golden in the street.
When we met you, you pointed out our bikes, and you just had I don't know. I've never talked to a homeless person that had just that. You had charisma. You had a big smile on your face. And then every time I heard you talk, it was just. You're a Christian. It sounds like you're very. I don't know. Can you talk about how Christianity helps you and do everything?
Christianity for me is it's a higher power. It's what we got to get ready for. We have to be ready for it, because when I pass from this earth, we got to go somewhere. We got to. Our spirits got to go somewhere. I mean, so why not be a good person? It doesn't mean we have to live our lives to a T by that book, because that's just a book. Granted, somebody wrote it, but how many times has it been rewritten? Okay, so that's here nor there. But doing the right thing is important. It's very important to do the right thing. And you do the right thing, you're gonna end up a better person. Being a better person, who doesn't want to be? You know. So why not hold on to that and try to be that better person? You know, try to say hello to somebody, not ask them for $1. Hey, how you doing? Hope you have a nice day. Be safe. You know, it's dangerous out here. Why can't I give somebody $1?
Yeah.
You know, it's all in that book. Everything we do in life is in that book.
Yeah, it is.
You know, so why not do it? You know what I'm saying? What's up, bro?
Yeah.
You know, he knows who I am.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know him, but I know he knows me.
Yeah.
You know. So, anyways, why not do the right thing? That's all I can say. Why not do the right thing?
That's right.
And as far as bike, I mean, everybody I know is the same way. There's a whole group of us that's what we do. We ride bikes, we build bikes, and all this and that. And I would love to build bikes to give them out to, kids and homeless people and all that. I get that chance, please. That's like winning the lottery for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I get on my bike and all my worries go away. It's like a drug almost.
It's like a bike riding.
It's like a drug.
Bike riding is a drug.
It's an addiction.
Yeah.
It is. And a lot of people don't understand that, but then it goes into the darkness of bikes getting stolen.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother thing in itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I was gonna say one more thing.
I'm gonna have to get going.
It's getting dark.
Yeah, I mean, my cam's running too.
Yeah, for sure.
Check on it.